I died, and then I came back to life, and now I hunt people to survive.
But only bad people. In a way, it's like what you do, only we're volunteers.
Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the television shows that didn't get the ending they deserved. While there are plenty of cartoons that deserve another season, we'll be focusing on live-action shows only. Some spoilers will be discussed, so this is your official warning.
Because my truth is simple, and your truth's complicated.
Complicated.
Number 10, Rome. It's a shame when a show with a predetermined story is suddenly cut short. Rome, a historical drama centered around the civilization transitioning into becoming an empire, suffered this exact fate.
Men think it's a sure sign of my doom.
While the plan was to have 5 seasons, it was ultimately cut down to 2, apparently due to high costs. This led to all of the ideas for the final 3 seasons being condensed into one, resulting in a rushed ending.
The battle begins.
About time.
While there were plans for a movie, they ended up falling through, which effectively killed their chance to tie up any loose ends. If the creators had been renewed one more time, then they could have spaced the stories out a bit and allowed those plot points to be fleshed out.
Dearest love, forgive me for leaving you this way. You know how I hate to say goodbye.
Number 9, My So-Called Life. Shows about teenagers usually focus on the more dramatic aspects of high school.
Oh no, school as much as you want. I'm drunk.
My So-Called Life broke that mold and portrayed a darker yet more realistic experience. While it was popular amongst teenagers, it still had low ratings and was swiftly canceled, causing things to end on a cliffhanger.
I can't talk about this, not with you! If you want to help me, leave me alone!
After a large fan campaign online, the studio was ready to bring it back. The creator ultimately decided to decline, as cast members had apparently expressed being ready to move on. However, in a 2014 interview, she revealed that she did have more storylines planned, including the resolution to a dramatic love triangle. While we understand why she ended things, we can't help but want to see these characters get the happy endings they deserve.
What does it mean? It means this is happening.
Number 8, Hannibal. Even heavily acclaimed series can come to a sudden end.
I don't find you that interesting.
You will.
Hannibal, centered around an FBI agent working with horror icon Hannibal Lecter, offered a new perspective on the villain.
It's the inevitability of there being a man so bad that killing him felt good.
It was widely beloved, with the actors receiving several awards and nominations for their work. And yet, despite the popularity, it was canceled after a few years. Fans were crushed, as they had become invested in both the plot and the characters. Not all hope is lost yet, though. Both the developer and the cast have expressed interest in reigniting it, either with another season or a film. While nothing has come to fruition yet, the fans are holding out hope that it will get a proper resolution.
He's your patient, Doctor. You do what you think is best for him.
Number 7, My Name Is Earl. Calling off a program is one thing, but having My Name Is Earl end with a to be continued was adding insult to injury.
That karma stuff is gonna kill me unless I make up for everything on that list.
While it was popular amongst viewers, it unfortunately wasn't enough to keep it from getting the axe.
Yeah, he's gay, but he ain't gonna bite me. Ain't gonna bite me, is he?
Other networks offered to revive it, but the showrunner, Greg Garcia, declined due to artistic differences. It ended up never coming back, to the dismay of fans. What made the cancellation even worse was when Garcia revealed in an online Q&A that the ending had been planned, and that he had never expected it to end the way it had.
Made fun of people with accents. Snatched the kids' Halloween candy.
Knowing that, we would love to bring it back for a few more episodes, just to see Earl's character arc finally be completed. Number 6, Pushing Daisies. The writer's strike in 2007 served an important purpose in the entertainment industry. It also served as the deathbed for several popular TV shows and movies, including Pushing Daisies.
I suppose dying's as good an excuse as any to start living.
The dark comedy, all about a regular man with the ability to raise people from the dead, was met with several production issues. The first season was cut short, with only 9 of the episodes even being made.
Even if I told her the truth that I died and you brought me back to life, she wouldn't believe me.
You don't know that?
Yes, I do, because I told her and she wouldn't believe me.
The second season didn't fare any better, and it was eventually given the chop. Despite all of this, Pushing Daisies was well-loved, and the creator, Brian Fuller, has expressed wanting to bring it back as a comic series or even a musical. No matter what the medium is, we would love to see it given one more chance.
Spent so much time praying, I've run out of things to say. I'm having awkward silences with God.
Number 5, Mindhunter. Mindhunter was one of Netflix's more beloved originals, with famed director David Fincher at the helm.
Because my truth is simple, and your truth's complicated.
With his direction, the 1970s crime show was able to come to life and was heralded as a breath of fresh air in the genre. Despite its popularity, it was put on hold due to Fincher wanting to focus on other projects.
I needed a name that explained who I really was, that I was being controlled by a 3,000-year-old demon.
At first, fans were fine with this, as they assumed it would return in a year or so. However, as the years went by, hopes for its continuation began to dwindle.
I could kill you now pretty easily. Do some interesting things before anyone showed up.
As of 2023, Fincher has confirmed that Mindhunter will not be returning. It's a shame, as there were so many other serial killers it could have explored had it continued.
What can I say? Prisons are like knitting circles. Word gets around.
Number 4. Glow. Glow, a series revolving around the lives of female wrestlers in the 1980s, was highly beloved by audiences.
In Soviet Union, we clean with rubles and hide paper towels under mattress. Nothing, that was solid.
It went on without a hitch for 3 seasons and was even renewed for a 4th, which would have been the final installment. Filming suddenly had to be stopped due to the COVID-19 pandemic, and by October 2020, the studio hadn't figured out the best way to safely continue. Forced between a rock and a hard place, they ultimately decided to end it.
The head of the network, she said he's a big fan of Zoya, and he wants to meet tomorrow night for dinner to talk about my future on the show. I'm really happy for you.
Viewers were disappointed, especially knowing that everything was so close to being resolved. While the cancellation was understandable at the time, the finale could be made now, and would likely be just as popular as it was at its peak.
I mean, it's like, why bother even trying to make anything that you really care about?
Number 3. Santa Clarita Diet. Low viewership has caused many amazing series to meet an untimely end, even if they were well made. Santa Clarita Diet, a comedic take on a woman becoming a zombie, became a fan favorite right off the bat due to its quirky humor and unique premise.
You're gonna bury someone out here, you should turn your cell phones off so they can't be tracked.
What? That's crazy.
As it continued to grow, so did its budget. Unfortunately, the studio felt that it had passed the point where they could reasonably invest in it, and they chose to pull the plug.
Uh-oh. I've upset the volunteer and the half-dead lady.
Actually, Jane's completely dead, and so am I.
That meant that it ended with the protagonist being forced to turn her husband into a zombie. It was a move that would have completely altered the plot going forward, and fans were understandably bitter that they would never know what happened.
No, you were right. Becoming undead does scare me. But when I thought I was gonna die, what scared me most was that I'd never see you again.
Number 2. Freaks and Geeks. Freaks and Geeks was facing heavy opposition from the start. From the production team and creators clashing, to NBC refusing to promote the website, it seemed as though the network was rooting against it the whole time.
You can't do schoolwork at school? It's the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
It quickly became beloved due to its less glamorous depiction of high school in the 1980s. Despite the positive feedback, it didn't get renewed, meaning it ended with Lindsay leaving her life behind to follow the Grateful Dead. Fans have been dying to know what happened afterwards, and if she ended up regretting the decision.
You want to make out or something?
No. All guys want to make out. But I just want to hold you.
Another season would have been all that was needed to answer these questions and find out what happened to the rest of the characters.
You need to find your reason for living. You gotta find your big, just gigantic drum kit.
Before we unveil our top pick, here are a few honorable mentions. Carnival. The writers had the final season planned out when the plug was suddenly pulled.
Ben, what are you hiding?
Happy endings. The sitcom kept being moved to different time slots, effectively killing it in its peak.
My store is the Peach Pit. Deal with that. Yeah.
Heroes. Despite the writer's strike, low ratings, and a follow-up miniseries, fans wanted Heroes to stick the landing.
Save the cheerleader, save the world.
The Last Man on Earth. This post-apocalyptic show only needed one more season, and it was already planned.
I don't know how to put a bomb back in that little thingy.
We're Americans. We put a man on the moon.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications.
Number 1. Firefly. When it comes to TV shows ending before their time, there was no greater example than Firefly. While it had tons of potential, there were issues behind the scenes. Multiple episodes were broadcast out of order, which negatively affected the plot. Additionally, the final 3 episodes weren't aired for months.
Is that even remotely possible?
And if they were able to foresee how the network would treat the program, fans formed a coalition to attempt to save it. They were also the ones trying to convince other studios to pick it up once it was canceled.
How can you say that? How can you shame me in front of new people?
While they were unsuccessful, that spirit still hasn't died. They are still itching to find out what happens next. And while 2005's Serenity did answer some questions, they can't help but want more.
The way it is the way it is.
What show would you bring back for one more season? Let us know in the comments below.
Now, everybody just calm down.
Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips from WatchMojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.